For years, the internet felt permanent. Posted something, it stayed there. Search engines indexed it. Platforms remembered it. That assumption shaped how we wrote, spoke, and even thought online. But quietly, that permanence is disappearing. Not because data is being deleted, but because it's no longer being seen. The shift started with feeds. Early social platforms worked like libraries. You followed links, you browsed archives. Older content stayed discoverable. Today's platforms don't work like libraries. They work like rivers. Content flows past you once. If you miss it, gone. Not deleted, just buried. Algorithms don't reward accuracy, effort, or depth. They reward timing. Miss the window, and your post effectively never existed. This changes how information survives. Search used to be the memory of the internet. If something mattered, you could find it later. Now, discovery happens before intent. Platform decides what you see, the other way around. And increasingly, search itself is being replaced. People don't look things up. They ask. They ask chatbots. They ask assistants. They ask summarized systems that don't show sources unless you insist. This creates a new kind of disappearance. The information still exists, but the path to it is gone. If something isn't surfaced, it might as well not exist. This is where things get strange. AI systems are trained on large slices of the internet, but once trained, they don't need the internet to answer. They generate responses from compressed representations of the past, which means the internet becomes a training phase, not a living reference. New content matters less than you think. Old content matters more than you can see. Only in aggregate. Individual voices flatten, edges blur, specific perspectives dissolve into averages. The web starts to feel informative, but less personal. At the same time, platforms are optimizing for ephemerality. Stories vanish, streams expire, posts decay after hours, not years. This isn't accidental. Ephemeral content keeps people checking, creates urgency, prevents reflection. You can't go back and think. You can only keep up. So we're entering a strange moment. Internet remembers everything, but shows almost nothing. Memory without recall. And this changes power. When visibility is controlled by systems, control shifts from creators to platforms, authors to curators, from archives to algorithms. The loudest voices aren't the most informed, they're the most timely, and truth becomes something you catch, something you find. There's another layer to this. AI-generated content increases. Cost of creating information drops towards zero. Content is infinite. Attention becomes the only scarce resource. Platforms optimize even harder for retention. Not understanding, not accuracy, not long-term value, just engagement. This feeds back into the system. AI trains on what survives. What survives is what performs. Performs is what's optimized. Over time, the internet doesn't just forget, it homogenizes. Different takes converge. Language smooths out. Risk disappears. Everything becomes reasonable and strangely empty. This is why some of the most valuable information today lives off-platform, in private communities, in PDFs, in newsletters, in conversations that aren't indexed, not because people are hiding, but because permanence now requires intention. If you don't deliberately store something, it won't last. So the question isn't whether the internet is forgetting, it's who controls remembering. Because in a world where visibility is temporary, memory becomes power, and the platforms know it. That's the quiet shift happening right now. This changed how you think about what you see online. You already know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.